Welcome back.
And we're back.
The tank is empty, officially, and I'm ready for round 3. This, to us, when we were, like I said, and I'm being completely genuine right now, we do not little planning for the show. There's a lot of work that goes into career podcasters, but we appreciate natural conversation, and we think that restricting conversation to certain topics and things like that really limits the flexing the muscle of it. But when we were planning this game and planning this episode, which is one of the few times that we've done this, we were like, round 3, we're about to get deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit's about to get real.
So if you made it this far, thanks. And also now you get the good shit.
You do.
Yeah.
Special treats to you all.
Yeah. Also, we don't really prep a lot for what we're going to talk about. Most of the time we just sit down and see what happens. But I think we'll start thinking a little bit more about it, whether that's directly or just like throughout the day.
And the more guests we get as time goes on, there will definitely be things that we want to talk with them about and things like that.
So yeah, guests coming soon as well. And if you want to be a guest, let us know.
Let us know. We love you all. Well, most of our supporters at the moment are people that we know in our lives, and a lot of us are moving forward and doing great things and have very interesting things to say. And I think our perspective, our generation's perspective, doesn't get out there enough because not a lot of us are good at talking, and not a lot of us are asking the right questions.
That's why we're trying to figure it out. So we'd love to get even more perspectives. Okay. Let's start
continuing with the game.
This is one you have for yours, but I also had it written down. This one's also tough. What's the most mad you've ever been at me, or I've ever been at you?
For what's the most mad that you've ever been at me? This is interesting.
We'll go
we have
back
to
and
guess
forth
for each other. I know.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Huh. I actually think I know Can we do the other way around first?
Sure.
Because I need to think on mine.
Okay.
What's the most mad that you've ever been at me? And I think I know the answer. Do you know the answer? When you've been really pissed at me. I don't think there's a ton of times, to be fair, like really upset, but I know one where I know like I fucked up. Probably the most upset, I probably don't remember because got a little too drunk or something. But there's one that I do recall.
So the most that I'm answering, the most you've ever been upset with me, right?
No. We're switching.
Oh, okay.
So when you got mad at me.
And I have to guess it.
Yes.
Okay. What's the most mad that
No. I'm guessing it.
Oh.
God damn it. But we both are
you're guessing it. Okay, you're guessing it. I have to come up within my head.
Matter. What's the most time you've been most mad at me?
Okay.
This is tough. It's also tough to think of.
We don't get mad at each other very often, and when we do, we're really good at working it out. But that's why this is actually a really interesting one, because there have been a couple moments of great fuck ups that we address pretty much immediately because we're good at gauging each other's emotions as well.
It's one of those ones where it's like, you fucked up and there's really like no excuse for it. That's kind of how I think about it. Usually there's always a reason and we understand each other. So like, yeah, I get it, man. I get where you're coming from. Doesn't mean like it wasn't great, but there are some that it's like, there was no reason to do this. Maybe.
Okay.
It's very hard to think of.
Throw out what you think I would have put down.
Okay.
I think I have it in my head.
So,
but this is actually going to be funny because this is you now recalling a time that I fucked up and you were really mad at me, right?
No, it's the other way around.
Okay.
Whatever. I'll just tell you. The time I thought you were the most mad at me, or one of the times you were the most mad at me, is I threw up in your car. So the story was Matt and I think Matt just turned 18 or something, or I don't know. Somehow we finally got to go to a dispensary for the first time, and we copped some like weed cartridge pens, and we got a couple edibles, and we're going to go to lunch with another friend of ours. So we're like, let's take these edibles and then go. And then we catch our other friend, and then we're also smoking the pens, and I'm going hard on the pen, and I'm getting super loaded. And we go to this nice restaurant, I think in Berkeley.
Yeah.
We drove out. We made a day of it, especially something you didn't do in high school.
Yeah.
And
late high school. It actually might have even been summer of senior year.
Yes. And I don't even remember what I ate because I was so loaded in the restaurant. I don't remember ordering. I don't remember anything. All I remember was you asked for a side of avocado, like 2 sides of avocado in a meal that already had avocado.
It was another vegetarian point in my life. I remember this day so well.
You had like 2 whole avocados and you didn't eat them. And I was like, call back. I hate that you're wasting this avocado, right? And avocados are expensive too to get at a restaurant. At the time, I didn't like avocados, and I smacked both of them.
Yeah.
We get back in the car, we drive around, and I'm like, dude, I feel like shit.
And at this point, I had Elena drive us when I was messed up because I was so scared back in the day of like doing that.
Definitely.
So Elena was driving us at this point, but in my car. And then I had not gone nearly as hard as you. So by the time lunch was done,
you were chilling.
I was clear headed.
And I remember we like went to like some parking lot in the middle of nowhere, like in Emeryville. And I would just throw up in the parking lot. I was like, you can't take me home. My mom's going to kill me. And then we would just like, I'd throw up in the parking lot. And then we'd be like, well, you just threw up in the parking lot at noon. We have to move. So we would just drive from parking lot to parking lot. And I would just throw up. And I remember you just being like, remember to like lean out of the car. And I was like, yeah, I got it. And I got it right like 5 or 6 times. And for some reason, on like the 7th or 8th time, I just threw up right at my feet. And you were like, I fucking told you. I was like, dude. Yeah.
So, oh my God, this is such a funny story because I do remember being really, really, really frustrated that day because it was.
You told me like, don't do this.
I did, and you threw so much attitude. You were like, I got it, like
because I got it right so many times. Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it was just I watched you just lean right forward and all over the floor. Just I was like.
Because I remember
this motherfucker.
I was like, I got it right. And you're like, no, have a bag. I was like, no, it's good. I've done it. And then for some reason that one, I just didn't make it. And it was just like, fuck. And we had to get your car detailed and everything. It was like the worst. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
Because that one I knew there was like no excuse. Like you literally told me right before, like, hey, don't do this. And I was like, well, dude, chill. And then
That's so fun. That's so funny, man. Yeah. I completely forgot about that. So no point for you, but really good reminding me of that. That's the thing. I really couldn't, I guess that maybe that should be a point because before I was thinking like any time that I had gotten like frustrated with you, it was like when you had told me something maybe that I needed to hear, but we were just younger and I didn't want to hear it at the time.
Yeah.
And then I remember one time when we were younger, you knew that I was super afraid of spiders.
This has definitely happened a few times.
Yeah,
probably.
you had a spider on a piece of paper. I remember this vividly. You had a spider on a piece of paper that you had found in your basement, and without telling me, you would just put the piece of paper next to me.
That's so fucked.
And then was just like, hey, Matt. And like I looked over and was just freaking the fuck out. And like you were so amused by it. And I remember
I'm still
just being so upset. Like, why would he fucking do that to me? He knows it's my biggest fear.
That was another question, but I thought that was too easy because it was definitely spiders. That's very funny. I think back then I thought either I thought it was funny or I thought I could break it of you if I just like like threw you in the pool kind of, you know? That's definitely pretty fucked up, but I still think it's really funny.
The car one is so good though, because you're absolutely right.
There was no reason for me to like do that, pretty much,
except the fact that you were wasted.
I was loaded, dude.
You were so far gone. I remember because at first we had the pen in the car, but I drove us to Elena's, so I wasn't hitting it.
No, you were like sober, and I had taken it already and was hitting it like on the way. And then I doubled down.
Then when we got to Elena's, I was like, "Hey, I want to hit the pen. Can you drive the car for me?"
Yes.
And she was like, "Yeah." And I remember just telling her, being like, "Dude, Alex is like on a new record right now.
Yeah, you're like you're going hard.
Like 10 or 11 dabs like in a row. Like
it was like one of the first.
And we're like 18. Like we just turned 18.
It was like one of the first times we had money or something, and it was just like we bought our own shit. Like we can go hard. And man, I lost it. Learned a couple lessons that day.
That was so funny though. That was so fucking funny. That was, and you were too, because I think in your head you were just so high. You were just probably at the time thinking like, I have to come down now because I got to go home eventually today. Like I probably told my mom I'm going to be home at a certain time, and then just.
Oh God, it was so bad.
All right,
so bad.
So I know we want to reciprocate this, and I think. There was one time you're probably not going to give me the point because it's not specific enough, but I vividly remember us talking about it later in time. We were late middle school, early high school, and I was being my full like ADHD self. This is me now reciprocating the point. The question is now.
When I got mad at Matt.
Yes, when he got mad at me. I'm sorry that there was so much confusion at the beginning there.
The listeners probably are sticking along better than we are.
Definitely.
I hope.
I vividly remember a time, and this is why I might not get the point. I was acting rambunctious, and I remember it was a similar situation where there was an important thing in your house or cabin that I think we were. That's actually another one. Okay, so there's two possible answers here.
Do what's funny. I don't know what you're thinking of, but I feel the feeling. The rage is like in me. I don't even know the story, but I remember snapping.
Dude, so there was one time at your house. So there's two stories I'll tell here, and then I'll pick which one I'll lock in.
Sure.
And both of them are probably gonna be wrong, like I said. But there was one time at Alex's house, I was acting super rambunctious, being peak ADD Matt, like peak, just like. And I remember you had told me like, hey, like, be careful, you're acting wild, and there's a lot of heirlooms in the basement right now because we're like moving a bunch of stuff. It was one of the it was those games that you used to have that were your grandpa's, where you pulled the lever down and it shot the ball into the air. And I remember
it was like a pinball type thing, right?
exactly. But like you just pull the lever, and it's almost like a pingo or whatever the thing is, where
it's like when it drops down and it goes.
And there's the point things at the bottom.
It's like a very old like pre-pinball machine. Yeah.
And I remember just
worth a lot of money.
Worth a ton of money, and I was being just like super disrespectful and just smacking.
Used to really like those too.
Yeah, I loved them.
Yeah,
and for some reason, this one time I was getting either frustrated or just trying to be funny, and I was smacking the shit out of it. And you were like, "Dude, be careful. Those are like been in my family like a long time."
Yeah.
And I remember I did it. I smacked it, and the lever came down and didn't pop back up. And I remember immediately realizing I fucked up, and you were watching the whole thing, and we were young. This had to be like 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah,
and this was
definitely.
like one of the times when you were like, dude, I was just sitting here telling you for the last fucking 15 minutes that this was not the fucking thing to be fucking with in the basement, and you continuously were fucking with it. So that was one of them that I vividly remember.
I remember that. I don't remember that vividly, but yeah, I do remember that.
Making you super upset. It was breaking something like that in the house.
Well, those were, my great-grandfather had just recently passed away, and that's what he had left to me.
Yeah.
He had left me those, and he had this like old like model car collection. And he had just died, and we had just put him in the basement like before putting them away.
Also,
so
Alex
he was sensitive at the time.
Yeah, definitely. You were also a great sport. I'm actually going to tell 3 stories with this one, actually, because I can think of 3 things. There was also, speaking of your birthdays and free Slurpee days, for some reason, you had the worst luck of getting presents and then having your friends fuck up that present the day of.
Yeah,
and I think the one that I fucked up, I remember another person fucked up the tetherball. I remember
getting a tetherball pole and then someone like strip dancing on it and just like snapped in half. I had it for a cool like hour.
Yeah, that one wasn't me. I remember I fucked up the ping pong table that you had just gotten. Ooh. And I forget how I did it, but the thing is like I said, this was actually a time I wouldn't lock in as an answer.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm sure deep down you were pissed at me, you were such a good sport about it. You were like, dude, it is what it is. It's okay. We're at our birthday party. It's going to be a great time. Yeah. And the next day you're probably like, fucking Matt, why the fuck do I hang out with that
That's
guy?
What that comes later. It's like, man, no, I got nothing for my birthday. Like I had a present. Now I don't.
So
I don't even remember that one.
It was okay. And then the third time that I can definitely think of was the BB gun at the cabin. I remember you were vividly telling me, hey, don't shoot like towards the neighbors or of any sort. And I'm like, don't worry, bro. I've got such good aim. I'm hitting the Smith ball that you had, the little belt. And I did. Honestly, I did. I hit it like 5 times in a row.
Funny enough, those marks are still there. Yeah, on those fucking signs.
That was probably another reason you were like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Shooting our sign?
Why are you doing this? And then I missed the one time and your neighbor was standing out there.
Yeah.
And he started yelling at us.
He got pissed.
He got super pissed.
He had kids and he had dogs like in the yard, and you were shooting a gun at them.
A BB gun. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. It was really, really bad. But not only did we both get chewed out by him, but then I remember vividly both of us going to the cabin for like 10 minutes. Like, again, we were young, but like you were like really good about like reprimanding me and then being like, Okay, it's good. We're over it. I chewed you out. You chewed me out for like 15 minutes.
I remember my parents being mad too. I think the reason also why is my parents chewed me out.
Oh yeah.
And then I chewed you
and that
out.
I'm sorry for.
No, it's okay. I just passed it on. I was like, now I'm in trouble. That one, I remember more getting yelled at myself than yelling at you. I forgot that I even got mad at you. I just remember getting yelled at myself. Of those three, lock one in.
I'm gonna lock in the heirloom in the basement.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the only one when you said it clicked. I was like, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
It's funny. All those stories are kind of the same thing. Even mine is just like, I told you specifically like, yo, don't do that. And then like directly in front of one of us was just like, I'm gonna do it. Just like didn't care. So I'll give you that one.
Yeah. I think
Funny enough,
you get the points as well.
I didn't have one to think of. I couldn't
I
think
really
of
didn't
one.
either, but that's actually funny that we get. That's why we both get points. We'll balance that one out because that's really funny that we both remember.
I wish I was more fun and I could think of one. I was like, yeah, you fucking pissed me off. But I really can't think of anything.
What's something that we've lived together now for almost half a year? So what's something that I do now that like irks you? Because there's got to be at least one thing.
Really nothing. Throwing away food you shouldn't. But that's like, I also respect that like you bought that food, you can do what you want with it. So it doesn't really make me that mad.
Fair enough.
If you threw away something that was like mine, I'd be like, what the fuck? But that's never happened. Nothing really. I also live, for those who don't know, I guess, which is everyone, I live on the bottom floor. Matt and Vinny live 2 floors up from me. So I don't really hear you guys or anything like that. There's nothing, there's some funny stuff, but nothing that bothers me. Like your underwear was hanging from my door. I have like a front door to the outside and Matt's underwear was just outside my door. And so I just went outside and grabbed it. I just threw it back at his window.
I'm so lucky I have the good friends in my life that I do because I know I can't be the easiest person to live with.
No, dude, you're actually very easy. There's nothing
I appreciate
that really bothers me that I can think of.
I really do.
Yeah, there's nothing really. Yeah. No, pretty good.
Same with you. The only thing that I'm truly mad about is that you ruined a lot of the music for me right now because I'm currently just in that wave of not being able to listen to anything else.
Forcing my music onto other people. Yeah, I know that's one I do.
Just jokes, folks.
Yeah, but also I kind of do that on purpose. I know what I'm doing there.
It's great though. Yeah. No, you're this is the best living situation I've ever been a part of.
For sure.
It's so good.
That
was a good one. But yeah, the funny thing is I bet you with that last question that we did, Jack and I would have a lot of an easier time with that one with Peru.
Oh yeah.
When we have Jack on, we'll go over the Peru fight.
Yeah, which we will. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys just bicker more, I feel like. Which is just not a bad thing, but like you verbalize it better, which actually I think is a better way to get things out a lot of times.
Yeah, and we did that. That's the thing. We do verbalize things, but most of the time it's completely friendly. That's the only time I can ever recall actually like him and I having to work something out. And the thing with you, that's the thing. Both of ours were. Even with Jack, we were all really young. Since really high school, we got lucky with our friends. We don't fight.
Well, also,
we just address our problems like adults. And we have from a very young age.
And I think the thing is we got a lot of that out already. And so since we know each other so well, like I said, we always know the reasoning. If you do something I think is stupid or dumb, I just go, that's just Matt being him. Like, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay that he's different than I am. Like, we just know each other. So it's not like weird or out of character or unexpected.
Sorry, I love you, bro. Sorry, I love you.
It's like, sorry, dude. No, dude, it's fucking perfect, man. So
it really is, man. That's a good question, though. I think that's actually one of the questions that's like really good for a best friend challenge. But for us specifically is funny because we're like, do we really get mad at each other?
Yeah, it doesn't work out. But I just think also what we consider angry or upset or mad is very different. You know?
Like, it also brought up some funny stories. The car one is absolutely the best story.
That one, that's one of the few things that I genuinely just like feel super awful about. And then like, I didn't even do anything. I think you paid to get your own car cleaned. I don't even think I paid for it.
Dude,
because I had no money.
It was water under the bridge. And that's the funny thing. I vividly remember. And that's the thing. Like, it's weird what we choose to remember and what we don't. Because I want to say it was one of those ball things, but I just remember one of the times, like I broke something important in the house after you telling me to be careful, like immediately after you telling me to be careful around it. And
that sounds right.
It's like, when I think about it, like the most recently I thought about it was like 3 months ago when we were talking about something, and I was like, damn, dude, like I was a little shit.
Yeah, when you described,
I felt bad about it.
When you described that setting, like that, like you broke something, was like, yes, that happened. My brain was just like, yep. I remember something like that.
Yep, definitely happened at some point in time.
Definitely happened.
But it's weird. We've also never like said anything to. I can't recall any time we've ever been mad at each other over something that was said.
No,
which happens a lot with friends, I think.
Yeah, but it's also because we make jokes like that a lot too.
That's true.
And so like we also know like to take nothing like that serious.
That's true. That's really true. That's really true.
Like we could say something that's fucked up and be like, dude, come on, I'm just fucking around. Like obviously I don't think that.
Yeah.
Because I live with you.
Super
and
true.
chose to live with you.
Super, super true.
That's a really good one. That was actually pretty fun. It wasn't very serious, but for some people it could get really real actually.
Yeah, super real. Because
so sorry we didn't go at each other's throats, but it's what happens.
Sorry, I love him.
Sorry, bro, I love you. Shout out to Dorian Electra. It's a great song.
Another rec. We're just gonna do recs scattered throughout this episode.
This is a new format. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I kind of want to. I don't want to just. Maybe we'll just jump deep into one, but because that was kind of fun. Let's do. Let's do last time you cried. It could just be, well, that's tough because it could just be like over nothing on a random day. But let's do it. If it's shit, I'll just cut it out or something.
No, I think we should leave it in.
Sure.
Okay. You asked the question. So the last time
I cried. Yeah. This is a tough one to guess. Mm-hmm. It's more just a story. I don't know how the hell we would guess this, but yeah, go ahead.
This is why ours is different because we're also trying to see how well we know of gauging situations in which the other one would.
Let's not necessarily make it like last time you cried, but let's like the last time you were really like genuinely sad and something like fucked you up. It could have been not necessarily like an occasion of crying, but like an event that really hurt me or hurt you, in whichever option.
Definitely.
Oh, what was
the
last time I got fucked up like that?
I'm going to say with you, you're a very empathetic person. So I'm going to say something that fucked you up was actually something that like something bad that happened to somebody else that you cared about.
Interesting.
Not something that happened to you personally.
Interesting.
But
I didn't know I was empathetic. That's cool.
It would probably be like, well, yeah, I think you're very good at, like I said, not comparing struggles, but almost understanding that there are different levels of struggle and being understanding that like, hey, this rich dude from Beverly Hills, this might, even though in comparison to the rest of the world might be nothing, that might have been devastating for him.
Yeah.
That's okay.
In the context of that.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm going to guess the last time you were that upset was, I'm going to give myself the range of sophomore or junior year of college, because that's usually when you start to get to know some of the real adult things that happen to people. And something happened to a friend of yours, or, was the last time you were upset? Okay. Was it, without naming any names, was it a friendship that ended because of some very poor decisions by this person?
Yeah. So this wouldn't be the most recent one, but that's actually a really good call. Yeah. I had a friend that like, I don't want to get too into it, but it's the pod, so I will, I guess.
Let's get real, man.
Essentially, I had a really good close friend of mine. We were really tight in college, but also when you're in college, it's a lot of just like partying and having fun with people. So you're not like close on that level. But he got into, we were partying, we were using drugs, all that. And he was kind of starting to flounder, and I was doing a lot to try to like keep him up and just try to like, come on, man, keep going, keep doing well in school. Like trying to like fix his life for him, to the point where I've ruined my own life. Like I've always been a pretty solid student, stuff like that. And I was failing classes. I failed my first class ever in my life, like my junior year of college, like super late, but just because I was putting so much time and energy into another person. And then he just like completely, he had his own issues of his own, and I don't hold any of this against him, especially with drugs involved. Like
it just happened. It's okay to talk about it honestly and how you were feeling at the time.
Not thinking like your true thoughts and feelings, and just totally switched up on me, flipped on me. And I had to realize that like I have to just step away from the scenario. Like there's nothing more I can do. Like I'm not a professional therapist. All I can do is recommend going to one. And my final thing was getting him to actually go and seek actual help. And I think that was the first step in the right direction for him. But for me, I had to step away. And it also felt like my thought process was, I want to know, I won't have any regrets if I know I did everything I could in my power. So I tried to do that, but that also exhausted me. And I almost like really fucked up going to college for that. So that was really sad. That was really tough. That took me a very, very long time. The one I was thinking was I broke up with my girlfriend at the end of college, which was very sad.
Oh, that's always rough, man.
And I
always
definitely cried. But that one wasn't really that sad. It's just a tough process to go through. I think it was for the better now, and we're actually pretty cool. So like, it's not a bad thing in any way, but it's just like the realization of like moving on and like your life's going to change. And especially like end of college, it's just like time and place is not everything. Like,
definitely, man. Yeah,
but that's it's actually an interesting way you put that. That it's usually with my relationships with other people that I get the most distraught about and like messing that up. And I definitely have a lot.
Same, brother.
Yeah. So like that one was really tough. The friend one's probably right. I'm gonna give you the point.
Nice. There we go.
Because definitely that was one that like really fucked me for a long time. And like for years after, till now, I always think, should I reach back out? Should I do this? Do what not? And I always say is that when they realize, I was also just a kid doing everything I could and they get well, that hopefully they'd reach out to me and let me know. Because I think I've done what I could. So if they want to reach back out and say whatever, even if it's not good or bad, then I'll accept it and welcome it and try to work it out. But I'm not going to, maybe eventually I'll cave in and make the first step. I probably will because I feel bad. But hopefully one day we can figure it all out. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think from just what I know about that story too, it sounded like in that case for that person, the amount of drugs and the type of drugs that they were choosing to experiment with just really started messing with their own thoughts. Where even though you were trying to help, it came off to them as you were out to get them.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you try to give someone real hard help and opinions, it's a challenge and you're telling them what you're doing isn't good and you need to change, right?
Yeah.
And that's really tough. It's like giving someone an intervention. I literally had multiple intervention type things and like getting other people in, and pretty much slowly, person by person, everyone gave up on that person.
Yeah.
Until it was just me, and it was just like, well, fuck, like I don't want to give up as well. So once I found out that I could get him like legitimate professional help, I was like, I can't do anything else but that. Like I'm not suited for this, right? Like
definitely.
But yeah, it is really sad to always lose a friend, and that hadn't happened a lot of my life really. But those are the ones that always make me the most sad. Friends I've become estranged with because of something like that.
Yeah.
People grow apart for whichever reasons, and doesn't mean there's bad blood, but when I feel like there's bad blood, it always like sticks with me for sure.
I feel that. I feel that.
So that's a sad one. Yeah. I actually don't know if I cried necessarily about that. I'm not a big crier, but I get very sad, and I guess where most people would cry. Definitely cried a lot when I broke up with my girlfriend though. But funny enough, that's like,
we're all there, bro.
But I was about to say that's a happier resolution and ending than all the friend ones, to be honest.
Yeah, totally.
It's just sad in the moment, but then you realize like, oh, this is actually like a good thing. And now I think it was like one of the best decisions for both of us. Totally.
I think with breakups too, you're always just kind of, is this the right decision? I'm really going to miss this person. I don't like the idea of them with somebody else.
It just sucks also like you've dedicated so much of your time and your whole life is based around this person. We do all these things together. Like we were really like that. Like we lived together and everything. And so that's like super like your whole life is different now and you have to restart. But that restart was the best thing that could have ever happened. Like definitely, totally out of a funk. But if you're listening, thank you. You're dope. I guess I should say something nicer. I was going to say like, I love you, but that's a little weird, right?
Sorry, bro. I love you.
You're an amazing person. Again. Thank you. But yeah, let's see for you. You got one?
Yes.
It's funny because this is very serious, but I'm also a competitive person and it's a game. I'm like, I gotta get it right. What is the saddest thing that's ever happened to your life? Like,
so yeah, are we doing the
most
depressing or most recent?
Most recent, very depressing, sad thing. So
okay.
Most recent thing on that level.
Yeah.
'Cause we could go back forever, right? It's hard to rank crying times, right? I cried harder this time. Like, it's all bad, right? So just most recent.
I definitely got it.
I don't know. I want to say something about, like, COVID and like the changing, like the end of college and the changing of all of our plans and what you wanted to do. Because I knew you were really distraught about that. Especially, we were supposed to do a full trip to Europe that spring break. Like, we had planned forever. It was the trip of our dreams with Jack.
Trip of the dreams followed by a move to China.
Yeah. So is it that, or I'll lock that in just because I can't think of that. The other one would be girlfriend breakup, but
gotcha.
I'm gonna go. I guess I don't know if you would have cried about that, but I know it's something that definitely you kept for a long time.
Yes. That was a very tough period of time for me. Just, you know how I am, and even our listeners know how I am at this point about questioning the way we do things and the systems that we have in place. And I think COVID really revealed a lot to me about nobody really knows what the fuck is going on. And I would say that was like one of the biggest crises of my life in terms of my own direction.
It was also, you had your next, 2 to 3 years planned, ready to go. And then it was just like, throw it all away.
Yep.
Now you have to figure it out and the world's on fire.
Yes.
It sounds scary.
But in terms of recent times, because that really did mess me up. And that put me in the only second depression that I've ever really been in my life. So point to you, man. Was
that the one you had?
It's the one.
I can still get the point, but tell me what's the one you had as well.
Yeah. Because, the one that I had, so like the one because again, we were doing most recent, so that would for sure be the most recent.
My thing with that is that I knew it stuck with you for a long time,
and
especially because you see it every day when I can't go out.
I talked to you about it frequently because we were talking a lot during that whole situation. We were worried about you getting back from Spain. Alex was in Spain at the time. We were worried that he was going to get stuck over there.
They had to fucking jet me out of there.
Oh my God, dude. Thank God for Mama Bacon, to be completely honest.
Mom canceled our plans and saved my fucking life.
Because it was like the pandemic wasn't super serious at the time.
Yeah, in the States it wasn't at all. And the breakout had just started in Spain pretty much.
And my mom had called me about 3 days before I was supposed to leave to go meet up with them in Europe and was like, hey, I know this is the trip of a lifetime, like you had said, but not too often that a global pandemic of this scale is getting talked about like this. And I really, really advise you against going. You're a big boy. You're going to make your own decision.
Yeah.
And I did end up making my own decision. I did end up being the one to be like, I can't do it. But also I was like, can I use you as a crutch, Mom? Like you just she gave me the option.
I remember being very upset and almost being like, fuck, like I don't think that's the right call. Like we should still do it. But it was the most right decision ever.
It's crazy. Yeah. She was really intuitive on that one and really saved.
And she saved me so much hassle and also like thousands of dollars. Cause I think less than maybe like, it was like the night before. And then I woke up the next morning and I woke up and read the news and Trump had just done the travel ban. It was like travel ban in effect in 24 hours. And I just bought my ticket the night before to come back home early. And
is that when it clicked, when you were like, oh,
yes, because then I went like, oh shit. And then I meet up with all my friends and they're literally like, we were supposed to go to a bar and like hang out and everyone's just panicking, trying to buy tickets home ASAP. And it's like, $2,000, $3,000 just to get home back to America.
How much did you pay the night before? $1,000?
No. It was like just like changing my flight. So it was just like a couple $100 of the like change fee, maybe like $300 or something. It was still like hefty for like a last second change. But to get a whole new flight when everyone in the world is trying to get back was like panic. And it was just such a struggle. And I remember like we're in the club and people are still texting to get tickets. And I'm just like, I'm riding it out. This is my last night here. Fuck it. Like I'm going in, like I'm not worried at all.
Sick,
so she saved all of our butts big time. Yeah.
So, because it is funny when I had, the locked in answer for the most recent one was yes, Peace Corps getting canceled.
Well, so it was that one.
It was. That was the one that I had locked in. It was Peace Corps and my plans of being abroad canceled. But while we're on the subject, and you got really real,
Yeah.
so let me get really real for a quick second.
I mean, that was real too.
Oh yeah, super real. I mean, that's really when I started to dive into my philosophy stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the problems that I come to you with now about, the way we run things, society, that's really that whole phase. And my discovery of
Because
nihilism.
you realize
and,
how fragile it is. When
Yeah,
society
very much
itself
so.
pretty much fell apart.
Yeah. Yeah, it really crushed a lot of things that I had held true for a long time.
These are my
and-
solid building blocks.
Yes, and the faith that I had put in a system my whole life that had failed me right then and there, and just aside from Gavin Newsom's early moves where he was making right decisions, every person in government just failing and wrong decisions being made after wrong decisions. So that whole period of time was very, very depressing for me, and I was and I know you remember this. One, I was super out of shape. I was eating like shit. I was smoking a lot of pot. And I was just, every time you talked to me, I was pretty depressed through that whole time period. And my family noticed it too. And they were also one of the ones that really helped me get out of it over the summer. Moving back home was really good for me.
Yeah.
And Mom, I know you're listening to this. I don't know if my dad will, but I know Mom's listening to this. Thank you for putting up with me during that time period. I really appreciate you having me back home and helping me get through that. Because it was rough. It really shattered me. But the time that I was most depressed in my life, and like I said, I've never been someone, this, I've never been someone to struggle with depression. I'm not saying that I have, but I know from talking to friends of mine that do struggle with it that I was dealing with symptoms of depression during a relationship of mine in college that I went through and then ended. There were a lot of things that I learned in that about my own emotional maturity, about what type of person I am. There was a lot of stuff that had gone wrong in the buildup to that relationship happening. I think that I felt betrayed in a lot of ways because I had really put a lot of effort to making that relationship work before the relationship was a thing, and then had found out that one of my best friends was also involved in a physical manner.
Yeah.
And that was really rough for me. And beyond that, it's when I first started to realize that no matter how I'm feeling about somebody else, they have things that they've gone through to act how they are, and the impact that can have on another person's ability to be in a relationship and the ability to put trust in another person.
Trauma.
And I didn't fully comprehend that until she had explained it to me, and I was just torn up about it, man. I was literally, I could not get out of bed for like 2 weeks. And then, that was during the time that the relationship was happening. But then there was so much other toxicity that for some reason I had put that trauma aside and was only so focused on my own anger about the hookup with my very good friend. And it really revealed things to me about myself and the level of selfishness. And I would say, and you may correct me on this and other people might, but you weren't there. So like for me, just being as introspective as possible, like the level of cruelty that I can stoop to, even knowing certain things just because of how I'm in my state of mind. Some of the things that I said during that period, I look back on and I regret every single day. Yeah. And I know this was one of our questions, so I'm sorry. I'm almost kind of throwing that one off the table now. But to answer it, it was one of my biggest, it is my biggest regret now, was stooping to that level of, and I was a kid, I was 19, but the emotional immaturity that was taking place, I should have been more emotionally mature. And usually I like to think of myself as an empathetic person and being able to put myself in the shoes. And I was devastated when I found out about some of the stuff that this person had gone through, but put it aside for some reason and let all of that toxicity build up, and a lot of it was really coming from me. And for the longest time, I was putting it on the other person. And once we broke up and I really got to get introspective and think about these things, that was the heaviest depression I've ever been in my life. Because after I had decided to end the relationship because I needed to work out my own head.
Yeah, I had to clear.
And when I was getting introspective of how evil I had sounded and how cruel I had made myself during that time period, dude, that would be if we had worded the question differently, like what was the most upset that I've ever been in my life, it would be that one, because that is the most unjustly and unfairly I've ever treated anybody. And again, just like you, I hope one day I can get some closure. We haven't spoken in years, and yeah, man, I really it was so bad, the things that I did and things that I said, and I was really fucked up about it for a long time. And that was like the most depressive state I've ever been in, where it was almost like a month or two after that ending where I was really having a hard time just going through my day-to-day life.
Because it doesn't feel like that was almost like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that was me.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt the same way. Like, it's because your emotions are in the highest and lows that it's ever been. And especially when you're young, like we're still young and we still don't have it figured out. But like, I felt the same way. I've said some of the worst things I ever said that I would never say to anyone because of, my emotions. I feel, you at least feel like, oh, I'm being played with, and you do this kind of like break even game where like you did this to me and I'm gonna do this to you. And it's like very toxic, very awful back and forth. And so it makes sense. But I think that state after, though it was awful, probably taught you the most and will make sure that you don't do it again. Yeah. Or at least not to that level. So I think that's one positive takeaway, if there is anything from that, is that you've learned now that, like, because I felt the same way. Like, I realized, oh, I don't have control of my emotions. Mm-hmm. Like, holy shit, like, I am a wreck. I thought I was just this dude who can fucking do whatever. And then you realize, like, no, I have fucking feelings too, you know?
Yeah. And it was out of control. And like, that's the one, when that question came up, I was like, oh, was that it? But then when I read our wording, I was like, no, Peace Corps getting canceled is for sure the one that broke my whole world most recently. Mm-hmm. And I was super upset about.
No, but that's also massive. Like, totally.
Yeah.
Like that.
And definitely massive. A defining growing moment in my life.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. I think that's one thing that like is very hard to learn, how to like have emotional maturity and like almost like emotional intelligence in a way. You know what I mean? Like if it was a stat in a video game, like a high level, it's so hard. How do you learn that? How do you gain that? And I think a lot of guys don't have that or weren't taught that in their lives. Yeah. And you're taught to push it down. Yeah. And I think that's something that's fucked up a lot of guys, obviously us, and probably even more guys. Right. Yeah. And so that's why it's like, that's something that you really have to realize, like the impact that you can have, especially with your partner, is like so deep. It's so powerful.
And the fact that I could get to that same depressive state over feeling empathetic towards some trauma that they had gone through, and then being completely willing to throw that
both
to
ends
the
of
side
the spectrum
and just focus on me and how I'm feeling. And I'm going to make you feel like shit because it's making me feel better. Yeah. I'm going to be the meanest I've ever been because I feel that that's what is the best response to the situation right now.
You try to break even. It's like a little kid fight. Like, you did this to me, so I'm going to do it back.
Totally, man. Yeah. And it was just the worst, and definitely my biggest regret. And I still, it's been, like I said, it's been years, and I still to this day feel awful about it, and I reflect on it a lot. And maybe one day with the person's permission, I'll get deeper into it. And I'm not saying any names, of course.
That's how I felt too. I didn't want to go too much because
it's
not just our story.
It's not just my story, exactly. And there's a lot that goes into that. But Jesus Christ, dude, I was at my fucking worst, and that question made me think of that time of my life. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
So, but you did get the point for the Peace Corps. And
woohoo! Got the point for the traumatic story.
Yeah. One of the
no, dude, that's super real.
Yeah,
that's super real. And I think a lot of people.
I think that was our intention for this game, actually, and that's why we did the levels. It's what we did. We did this on purpose.
We're in the deep end now.
We are in the deep end.
All right, let's keep it rolling. What else? Let's go with one.
You know what the funny thing is, actually, with that one question, when you go back and read this, we've answered about 3 of them.
It's good.
All in that. But moving forward, what do you think my biggest insecurity is?
It's tough because you're funny, so you make jokes about. You do a lot of self-deprecating humor.
I love self-deprecating humor.
And I know you really like it, but I'm also someone who I've always been like that. When people do make jokes and stuff like that, I tend to kind of just see past it or see through it. And that's not always accurate because some people truly do think self-deprecating jokes are funny and it helps them cope as well sometimes, right? But to me, I always go like, if someone does a joke like that, especially if I don't know them, I don't laugh usually because it feels like one of those like, oh, they're actually sad on the inside and they're covering it up. But I also know that you genuinely think it's funny and you make jokes about it. So it's tough to see which is legitimate and which is not. Like you always talk about going bald, right? And like, I know that's something you're legitimately worried about, but I also think it's something you think is funny. Like it can be both. It can be both.
Both can be true.
Both can be true. That's
the slogan of the show.
That's the slogan of our show. Both can be true. So that's a solid one. I think I do want to say it has something to do. I don't know. Maybe I want to say it has something to do with like getting girls. I want to say is like the ability to like find someone.
You are 100% correct.
Score.
My biggest,
like the worst reaction to that.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I got the thing that bothers him the most.
So fucked.
No, dude, this is a great game, and I couldn't think of a better person to engage in this game with. And obviously, we're doing it in a public platform, which is where we need to be careful incorporating other stories like that last one. But
totally,
I actually think we navigated both of those really well.
Yeah. If anything, if there's bleeps or anything, don't worry about it. It's just because we were trying to protect the privacy of other people.
Yes. But yeah, I would say my fear of being going bald is one that, of course, you know, I'm 23 and I just noticed that the hairline is much farther back, and you know the reverse hairline.
Don't worry.
I'm not gonna show the fucking camera. I'm not gonna fucking. Don't worry. I think this lighting does enough for me already. So. But no, my truest and biggest insecurity is being able to find somebody, a woman with like a true, genuine connection, because not only from my own experiences in life, but also just hearing a lot of the other people's experience where they thought they had true connection and it ended up not being real, and my whole kind of skepticism behind that. It is one of my biggest insecurities, the fact that I'd be good enough to receive that genuine connection from somebody.
As you just heard, it comes from experience, and I guess you could say trauma or whatever. Like there's reasons to feel that way, but also like you don't need to feel that way. Like the way it works is there's a bajillion fucking people, and you will find someone who is perfect for you, or at least damn near. And like that is going to happen. And you're right, it's tough because you feel like, when is it going to happen? Will it happen? It's this huge thing, and you don't want to not have that. It's really hard to just like blindly believe like it will happen. So I mean, I get that. I think a lot of people fucking think that. You know, both men and women. I think guys definitely do. Yeah. Especially guys do more than they maybe show off sometimes. Yeah. But
and I'm like, and I think you can attest to this. You could tell me if I'm wrong. I'm definitely more of a romantic, where I think it's that attraction to literature and attraction to that perfect story. You know what I mean? That story of deep connection. And I would say some of my favorite authors were romantics in a sense. It seems like the most like nihilistic and depressed people are romantics in a sense, because they want that story, that connection,
that star-crossed lovers.
Exactly. Almost. Yeah. Maybe
not that storybook, but
Yeah.
like that idea that like there is this like grand almost resolution or answer, like this will come to fruition in the end.
And I do think that we, especially the age that we're at now, we're like in this weird rush. You know, we think it needs to happen now or it's never going to happen. And then like, oh yeah, when I go bald, no woman's ever going to want me. Like, stuff like that. Like I joke like that all the time. But it's really not about like that, like the physicality, because we even talked about, is that like really, do you want a girl that wants you for your physical looks or something like that? Or do you want somebody who wants you for your personality? Yeah. And just being able to find that. And also, I'm critical of my own behaviors. I even said you paid me a huge compliment tonight saying I'm easy to live with, but of course I'm thinking in my head like, man, what girl would be able to put up with this behavior and put up with that and put up with my inability to do this but there's so on and so forth.
There's someone who loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If there's two people who live here who love that kind of stuff, that you found already, there's definitely a girl out there who will also love that kind of stuff.
That's true.
But that I mean, I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Well, it's technically it's my turn to guess for your biggest insecurity. Do you need
have one? I think I have one. I can't think of another one at the moment.
Okay.
Mine tend to fluctuate, but I think there's one that's pretty a general theme, I guess.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll learn a new one.
My guess, right, from talking that we've done recently and just knowing you throughout my life, which is funny because I think that actually, let me look at the list just in case we want to come back to this so I don't reveal. Okay, fuck it. I think this is something that I possibly know about you that I think you're actually really, and it's funny if this is the right answer because I think you're really good at, even though you probably think you aren't, you're really good at not coming across this way. But I'd say if I had to lock in what your biggest insecurity is, it's likely your first impressions with new people.
Damn near right. Yeah, I'll give you the point.
Sick. Fuck yeah. Points again. Insecurities. Lockdown.
Yeah. It's people pleasing. Wanting people to like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my number one thing my whole life is wanting people to like me. It first started, I think, when I was in middle school or even earlier, when like I just wasn't, I guess, the cool kid or whatever type shit. And it was like, oh, how do I get these people to like me? Like, I want these people to like me. And literally becoming more like I was literally changing who I was to individual people to make them like me. And almost picking up the skill of learning about other people, knowing what they like, and conforming myself to be that for them. And it got super dangerous. I did it a little bit more in high school, but and it causes me a ton of anxiety. That's why I have a lot of social anxiety, because I'm always worried how I come off to people. Yeah. And I don't want to be rude. I want people to like me. And it's such it doesn't sound that bad, but it's a very toxic trait on the inside, because then I don't act myself, my truest self. And it almost gets blurred after so much time. Like, what is my truest self? What am I really like? More recently, I think I've gotten better with it, especially with COVID, when I wasn't seeing people, and especially new people. I'm most worried with new people because I don't know them yet. I don't know how to act. I don't know what mask to put on for them, right? If I know them, I know, okay, they like football. Just talk about football, right? And I'll lie and pretend like I knew. This is before. I don't do this as much anymore, but of course it happens occasionally. And it works sometimes for small talk and stuff like that, just being cordial. I think that's fine. But there's a line where someone could say something that back maybe in high school, someone could say something that I definitely don't agree with and just totally go along with it and argue and believe in the side that's the other one and totally just dive into it, which when I look back is like so insane. But I'd be having like a panic attack on the inside that I'm going to say the wrong thing and they're going to disagree with me. And that's the end of the world. Like,
did you ever get this way with like your closest friends, like Jack and I as well?
I mean, I wouldn't say so. It's weird. It's not everyone. It's just sometimes some people, it's some random people, but also I would just do it generally speaking, I guess. Okay. Yeah, it's just like on the basis, it's just, I want people to like me. So I'm going to do things that I think people would like. And that's not always bad. If it's your friend, you want to have a good time and you're going to have a good time. But when you're really friends, I can be real and like say real things in front of you guys that I truly mean and I know you don't agree with, right?
Yeah.
We just talked about us fighting and doing things like that. I would never do that if I had the sole goal of wanting you to like me. You know, once I feel like we're cool and you like me, it goes away.
Which for us came in like kindergarten.
Exactly. But I think the reason why I struggled with it so much is because I've always had a really tight core group. I've always had you, right? So like I had a safety net. Mm-hmm. So I never felt like stranded. But then when I went to college, it was cool because it was like a full reset. It was my first time I could really just like be me.
Gotcha.
And not worried about people liking me.
Yeah.
But eventually I got back into that cycle once I smoked a lot of weed, and that would cause so much anxiety after a while that I became that same thing I was trying to fix. It's definitely, the people pleasing. I think it's it really can fuck you up like in the head because you're just like never acting yourself. Yeah. Which is like super crazy. And I even still notice I do it sometimes if I'm trying to impress someone, and it's tough because sometimes it's like your boss for an interview and you have to kind of fake it till you make it type of shit. And that's like really like not good to do. And I advocate to not do that, to just be yourself. And if someone doesn't like you, too bad, there's another person, you know? And it sucks that in some cases there are people who you kind of need them to like you, right? Like your boss or something like that. So it can, I guess, come in handy in that way. Like I meet a friend's girlfriend and I can get them to like me because their friend's like, come on, I want her to like my friends or whatever. Right? Like I can meet a girl and pretend that I love horoscopes and do the whole thing. And I would be lying. Maybe not that one, but I've done it. Yeah. I remember I met a coworker at this job and I didn't have any friends at the job. I was feeling super lonely and she would talk to me and she's like, oh, what's your sign? Like a intro thing. And I was like, oh, I'm a Cancer. Oh my God, what are you? And like, I would never do that. Like I would never do that. But it's also hard to just be like, nah, I think that shit's stupid. And they're just like, oh, okay, well, like that's it, you know? So like, I think there's a way to do it, be nice and like entertain, like, oh, we can talk about horoscopes, but I'm also going to let you know, I don't really like that stuff, but I'm down to have the conversation. So it's been learning that line, but that's my biggest one. Yeah. First impressions are huge because I personally don't judge people on first impressions that much because I know how nerve wracking it is to do one, to have one. Yeah. And so I'll probably fuck it up because I'm nervous. And like you said, I think I fuck it up, but I probably on the outside, it's not that bad. Yeah.
And plus I'm sure when we're together in social settings, you have that safety net there.
Exactly.
So you're more
it's much
yourself.
Easier.
Yeah. So I've never been able to personally notice it. But
it still happens for sure.
Oh yeah. I bet. Not discounting that at all, but, after you paid me a huge compliment, dude, your truest self, I am fairly confident I know the truest Alex. Yeah. And, you're like my favorite person, dude. You're like one of my favorite people on the planet. Like it just, you give me a lot of advice on this show. So if I can offer any of my
finally, right? The listeners have been waiting.
Oh my God.
He is the mystic man.
I am the most mystic.
Oh my gosh.
No, but for real, man, just if I could recommend to you, just never put up those masks. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to land a job and stuff like that, navigate it how you feel is best. Do what you have to do. Totally. But with social situations, man, if someone doesn't like the truest Alex, fuck them. You don't need them in your life because you are one of the most golden human beings that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and I feel more fortunate than anybody else in the world for having a friend like you and friends like the ones that we have. All of you know who you are. It's everybody that I'm referring, but you especially. You're my oldest friend. You're my longest friend for sure. Yeah. You and I have been friends the entire way through till now. Yeah. Since we were 5 and like 4.5 years old.
Yep. So what? 18 years?
Solid 18 years. Solid 18 years strong of like best friendship.
It's super crazy. Yeah, dude. I couldn't agree more. But I agree. It's something I don't do as much now. Funny enough, I don't do it with girls actually.
Wow. Okay. You're more comfortable being that truest self.
I am way more comfortable around girls than guys.
Wow.
Way more comfortable. Because I think in my past, I didn't think I was the manly macho dude or whatever. And I didn't play the cool sports and fucking do whatever.
Oh, I'm for sure a beta.
Yeah, like not like that sense, but like,
for me, not for you, for me.
no, I mean, I don't know what those terms really mean, but I think it's actually the more quote unquote alpha thing to not have to show that off outwardly so much and being self-confident.
Yeah.
You're right. Like that's also part of it is a self-confidence thing. What helped me a lot was like in school, once I started excelling at whatever I was doing, like when I started doing well at soccer, that gave me confidence. Like, okay, I am good at something that I'm recognized with. And then that can carry over to whatever you do. But yeah, funny enough, girls, for some reason, I just go like, well, if they don't like me for me, I can't keep this up forever. Like they're like, if I want this girl to be my girlfriend, there's no way I'm putting on the mask the whole time. So they're going to get the real shit first try.
Yeah. Like
so
almost right away.
If there's a girl I like, you're getting legit me. Cause I don't want to deal with the halfway through being like, oh, by the way, that guy you think you're dating is not him. Like
the facade becomes really hard to keep up, but a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it for.
There's definitely people that I know who I've damn near maintained it to this point, at least maybe not to this point, but their last memories of me and what they think I am is probably a little bit off. It's not like insanely different from me, but I definitely am conscious of it.
Yeah.
You know, I am like, you know, maybe if it's a guy who's like a kind of douchey, like, haha, yeah, I fuck bitches, bro. I'll be like, yeah, dude. Yeah, that bitch was bad. And I'm like, I don't talk like that.
You don't. We don't speak like that at all.
No. And like,
unless we're making fun of those guys.
Yeah, totally. And like, so, but like I would just kind of play along because I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely a big one. That was a good call. I'm glad we got those both right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We both got
fuck a favorite color or favorite album. This is the one I got. I'm glad we got right.
This is because like this actually shows that we do know each other on way beyond the surface level. Which is crazy.
It's funny that we're so surpassed it that we kind of just threw the surface stuff away. That stuff's like, yeah, whatever. You listen to whatever.
I'm interested to see if listeners get through the softballs to get. This is the much better content.
Yeah, I just looked at the clock. This is really long.
But we had to throw the softballs out because it's a part of the game.
Yes, it is. It's there's levels. Maybe we'll do a 3-parter for this or something crazy.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah. So regardless, if you made it this far, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. And actually, I want to check in because I don't know what the score is.
Let's see.
Matt has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alex has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoa. We are such good friends, bro. We're exactly tied. Look at that.
Fuck.
I hadn't even checked in. This part, all this shit, this episode was the most planned, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was planned.
Yeah.
Like this is
it's actually the most real.
Yeah.
Without
this is the deepest we've gotten about ourselves for sure. We've learned a lot about each other, and the listeners have learned a lot more about us too.
I think so too. Yeah. I'm trying to see here if there's any other on here.
Well, I mean, we might need. If we end up with the tie, we tie. But let's see if we can have the tiebreaker. Should we go back to the softballs?
No, look over the hard ones. Is there anything on there? Also, listeners at home, if you like this, let us know. But also, I'd love for you guys to submit questions as well. Like, what are some things you want to know if we know about each other, or you're just curious about us?
Yeah, we really want to start doing more fan interaction.
We could do this at the end of every episode if people really like it. That'd be kind of cool. And it could be like a lifelong tally. You know, like the score keeps going. So I'll be in the lead or something like that.
Also, one question from each category. So 3 questions an episode.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That'd be cool.
I like that idea.
So definitely let us know. Or if you also want to share your experiences or your answer to the questions, that'd be cool too. So yeah, let us know.
Okay, I think there is a really good one in here, and we should end on a positive note. Not that these weren't positive. I think we got positive
Let me
talks
see real
out
quick.
of them.
I just want to make sure.
Definitely.
Nothing that like we missed, but go ahead. Explain the one you had.
So I don't think anything that we shared tonight was negative. I think that these things are good to talk about just in general, getting introspective about certain things like this and, you know, learning about your friends, having more real conversations with the people who you consider friends. I think that's another reason this game was kind of fun, the spin that we put on it, because a lot of the YouTubers that I was watching, it was just corny, surface level.
They're probably not that close to friends.
Probably not. No.
And I will say, if there's one thing that's about us that's different is that we're actually best friends. Like it's not just the best friend challenge. Like it's for real. So I think that's why I was like, oh, we can fucking do this.
And we do try. I think this was a perfect career podcasters episode, because what we strive to do, our description with dark thoughts and light hearts, we like seeing the humor in life, but we also realize that shit can get very serious.
Yeah,
and
I was screaming about scoring a point about a traumatic experience. Like that's a light heart, deep thought.
Dark thought, light hearts.
Yeah,
dark thoughts,
we
light
can
hearts.
still make jokes about it for sure.
Yeah, and I do think it's important to a smile and especially in the face of bad stuff. I think that's and I think that's when humor is most valuable, during the roughest times.
Totally.
When it comes out, but of course there's always facets. There's always multiple facets to these things. But to end on the most positive note of the deepest ones that I think we could do, can you guess what my favorite memory of all time is?
Favorite memory of all time.
Ever.
Wow.
And I have a direct answer for this one.
Okay. That makes it so hard. Wow, dude. Can I get any hint?
Okay.
There's like a bajillion great ones.
For this one, again, mom and dad, so much love. I have an immeasurable amount of favorite life memories with you all. So I'm going to say rule for this question. No family experiences, because those are givens that they're going to be amongst the favorites.
It's also, maybe it's not necessarily like best memory, but it's just like a very iconic memory that's like the one that's very prominent to you.
Yeah, definitely.
It could be maybe more impactful or something like that.
Very impactful. Okay. A hint that's a good hint, but not too
I don't want much,
revealing.
but it's just like, dude, I could say like a bajillion things. Huh. I was thinking, give me something. I don't know.
Okay. Good hint would be.
Does it like involve someone else? Maybe that could just be a yes or no answer. It doesn't have to be like a person.
No. It was a very profoundly. I don't like that word. It was a very deeply impactful personal experience.
Okay. Cool. First thoughts, India. But I don't know if that's it. I'm trying not to look at you to get your facial reactions.
Good call.
Because I wanna like get a real thing. I can't think of anything else. Another one I thought of was like doing well in math.
Wow.
Like kind of like a fuck you to everyone who's like, I couldn't do it. Like, but I don't know.
Kairos talk.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like a singular moment as much as like, I've worked really hard to get to this goal. Let's do India. Let's do, I don't know, dude, working with like kids or something maybe. Or dude, I don't know. Let me just go with something in India when you like got to like really impact like a family or a kid's life there.
I'm going to give you the point. Cause,
really?
Yes. My favorite memory. So I would have accepted two answers. And when my worldview was most expanded, and the thing that really impacted me the most in the way that I think, with Bourdain's help, and then of course the help of good friends and good people that we had in our lives and opportunities, that you were there for one of them.
Cool.
We were in Peru.
Okay.
And
travel.
Yes, both of them are travel related, so that's why I'm giving you the point. Howrah was definitely one of them in India. And we got to experience the village of Howrah and go there and just kind of see another aspect of life. And then very similarly in Peru, when we went to the school with the kids, and just kind of seeing that. It's my favorite memory because it was two of the hardest experiences I had in my life, because it definitely put my own privilege into perspective for myself, but also made me realize that because of this position that I've been born into, I have the power to make a difference in small ways in other people's lives, whether that be through giving of resources, giving of time, offering a simple smile, just talking going and actually learning about these things. But yeah, the two most standout memories to me were definitely Peru and India as a whole. As a whole. So they were just those two. I've traveled more outside of those two countries, but the things that I experienced in both of those places holistically, I'll never forget. I'm writing about India right now. I should go back and maybe reflect on the Peru thing. We were really young when we went to Peru.
We were, and we were also like with a lot of people. It was like with a class with classmates, so we weren't as fully like engulfed by the culture and the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we weren't a lot of it, but
we also had Miss Taylor with us. You know, rest her soul. That was somebody that I cried. That was one of the more recent times when I cried really heavily because she taught us a lot on that trip and taught us a lot about how to move and how to think and things like that. And without her,
a great life teacher
for sure. And without her, I wouldn't have been as prepped for the experiences that I had in India. The things that I saw. And I remember being. There's another regret in there because after Howrah, all I could think about was trying to get in contact with people back home. Like, you know how like I'm a very impulsive. And we were at like a reflection dinner and I wasn't very present with the people I was with that specific night. I was present the rest of the time, of course, with the people that I was with in India. But that night I was just I couldn't get it out of my head and thinking about things that I could do when I got back home to keep that memory, you know, alive.
And you wanted to share it as well.
Yeah, definitely. And
it's our
I
culture
just think
now.
Those two things were just so impactful for me. And those memories were, I'll never forget any of them. And my favorite Peru memory, actually, like a more fun one, was when we woke up at 5 a.m. And we annoyed the rest of the camp with our little Yamin.
Oh yeah,
we were the Yamin
in the middle
bugs.
of the rainforest.
Yes, but the favorite part of that memory is we were on a riverboat, in the Amazon River, and watched the sunrise above the Amazon rainforest, and then just sat there for about 2 hours with binoculars, just watching the Amazon wake up.
Yes,
And
I remember that.
The
birds. Oh my god.
In light of Steve Irwin, I have never felt more in tune with nature and just more like I am a part of something bigger. Humans are not the only thing on this planet, and I am just a small cog in this grander organism that is the planet. And it really inspired me to be more in tune with trying to be more eco-friendly. I'm not always the best, obviously, but you know, trying to make steps towards that. And
definitely, that's a big thank you, Steve Irwin. That's a big thank you, Miss Taylor. I think that's a big lesson.
Huge. Rest in peace.
Yeah, definitely,
for sure. Another one gone too soon. And I did. That's another regret. I wish I'd spoken to her more throughout the college years, but I really appreciate her time and things like that. So
that's a really good one.
You get the point. So I either lose here or get the tie. Have you thought of yours? Your solid answer? What would have been on the paper?
Yeah, I was trying to think, but I was also really paying attention to what you're saying, so it was hard for me to pick one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It was great. I was thinking like very particular moments, but maybe I'll go a bit larger since you went a little bit wider, which is fine.
Well, I like the particular moment too, though.
Yeah, me too. I'm having a really hard time picking one, which is kind of sad to me that I don't have like this is a great
Well,
memory.
I didn't pick one. I picked two. Remember, I would have given two for the acceptable
answer. I have
answer.
a couple, so I'll give you a couple shots at it pretty much. Go for it.
All right. I know we've talked about frequently you are someone that very much values your time with your friends. And that's like your favorite way to spend your free time.
Totally.
So I'm going to say either when our first cabin trip happened and we kind of like established like our like, you know, little group there, and we were away for a week and a half, and we had used some of the stuff that we had learned from like our Catholic school retreats, and then had fun, you know, partying, being young and like out away for the first time, but then also getting very real with each other. And that was like a lot of the time when we started to get we had already been real with each other in a lot of ways, but that's when we were really like, I need you guys in my life, and I love you all.
Especially because we were graduating. It was like we could go away forever right now, but like we want this moment to last longer.
Yeah, we really do. And then my second one would have been, of course, some of those Peru memories that we made, because we were traveling with that core group of friends when we were all there, and it was such a beautiful experience. And then, of course, getting to experience a fully even more immersive travel than I got in Spain when you went. But I'm gonna go lock in. I'm gonna give that cabin answer because I know you're someone who really values that establishment of lifelong friendship. That very first cabin trip.
Okay. I didn't think of that one, if I'm gonna be honest.
So then 0 points for Matt. I picked the wrong
lock-in. It might
lock-in.
actually be my best memory. The thing is, in that moment, I was so also stressed and worried about the trip going well. I was really nervous the whole time that I was gonna burn down the whole place. Yeah. Because this was like the biggest responsibility I had ever been given by my family. But I would say the cabin trips as a general is like one of the things I will look back on that makes me like super happy. Yeah. The fact that we can like our friends group trips in general is something really cool to me that like we actually pulled off and we continued to do even when we wouldn't talk for months, even when we're all over the country. Yeah. And we would still pull it off like, fuck it. Now we're going to go to this cabin and we're just going to immediately be boys and just fucking
let's go meet up in Seattle. Let's go meet up in Texas. Let's go meet up in New York.
Yeah. All the time. So I would think that's pretty great. The ones that I had thought of, first one actually was graduating college. Funny enough.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's right. That was a huge deal for you because you're like the first
generation baby.
Yeah. I'm technically second because of my grandfather.
Okay. Well, yeah. I skipped one. Yeah. Well, I think that's still big though. Your parents didn't go to college and you did. Yeah. But yeah, that was a big one for me just because I felt a lot of pressure to graduate college. Like my parents didn't go to college. My sister didn't graduate, and my whole life I was told like, hey, we're paying for you to go to this good school and we're giving you all this resources so that you get this degree. Like that's the whole point of your whole life to that point. And I almost fucked it up, like I mentioned earlier. And when I finally did it, though I had an online graduation, all that, it was the biggest relief. It felt like I could now have my own journey. Because before then I was living my dream. I was still having a good time, but I wasn't setting my own goals. That goal was set for me. I need to go to college and graduate. But after that, then it was up to me. So it was the first time I was like, oh my God, now I get to choose what I want to do in my life. I accomplished not like my parents' dream, but what my parents invested in me for essentially. And so it was just like, oh, like now it's my life completely. It's not like it wasn't before. My parents weren't super pressured on me, but I created that own pressure for myself. That's what first came to mind. The other one
that would have been on the paper.
Yes, that would have been on the paper.
Okay.
The other one was actually the first time I scored a soccer goal.
Nice. When was that? When was your first goal?
Sophomore year of high school. And I played soccer my entire life. Wow. And it was the only thing I ever it was like my thing as a kid. Yeah. Right. Like in our elementary middle school, no one else played soccer. It was lame to play soccer. But that was like my thing. And my freshman year of high school, I was awful at it. And it was rough for me to even want to play because I thought I was so bad. I was told I was so bad. Yeah. And so it was the first thing I actually like really tried at. Like I really actually wanted to get good and like show everyone. And I remember being like, if I never score, I would be such like a sham. Like I put my whole life to this and I never even scored a goal. Like I'm a phony. And when I did it, it was another one of those big reliefs. I know it sounds silly just to like score a goal in a game, but it's just like working hard for something and actually doing it. And that was like the craziest, like, it's all gone. Like I did it. Like this wasn't for nothing. It was also my sophomore years when I finally like was good and being like accepted and praised for like my hard work. And that was a great feeling. And our whole team got ice cream because I scored, which is a bonus.
I remember that. I was there on the sideline.
Yeah.
I was on JV at the time.
The coach was like, there's no way Alex will score. If he scores, we're all getting free ice cream. And then somehow made it happen. Thank you, Brian, for the assist.
Shout out.
Yeah. So those would be my two. But I actually think the cabin trips, especially when I look back, I think I'll think of more fondly. Because graduating college, I didn't do anything. I popped a bottle of champagne in my backyard.
We graduated in 2022. It was fucking unfair, man.
Literally, like, I got a PDF.
We got Zoom celebrations, dude.
And then I was just like, woo, by myself, pretty much. So that one wasn't very memorable, but those ones were like the big reliefs off my shoulders.
This has to be
yeah.
the longest episode of Career Podcasters yet.
I was about to say the other best moment is right fucking now, dude. This is a super good pod. This is our longest. It's 2 a.m. now. We started at 11.
Yeah, around
12.
Then. Yeah, around then.
Super
both have
long.
work tomorrow.
Yes, both have work tomorrow. And also that like I was saying, I graduated college and now I get to live my life and I get to live with 2 of my best friends in this house and like do this fun project and like do whatever the fuck I want. It's super cool. So I'm living right now just like every day is the best. Love you, man.
I love you, bro.
This has
been great.
This has been amazing.
This was Alex's idea. We've been thinking of a game we could play or something that we could do.
Yeah. That also wasn't corny or like not true to us. So we wanted to take our own spin. So I think that's what we did.
I think so too. And we started, like I said, I think it's the truest to us where we started out really fun, progressed to an in-between state, and then got real fucking serious for the ending. There. And yeah, we might devise this one up. We might just have the description. We may put like a forewarning. Like maybe we could do timestamps at the beginning as to where people could jump to if they depending on what they want to hear.
Yeah, we'll have to think about how we do this, but it'll definitely all come out. Yeah. It's funny. This almost feels like a last episode type thing, but it's just the beginning.
Just the start.
Maybe we blew all of our shots out in this one episode and we'll have nothing to talk about anymore. But I think this is kind of almost...
I disagree because the world's going to keep spinning and we observe the world and we talk about it quite a bit.
Totally. And so I think this is, for new listeners, this is a great way to get to know us also. It's almost like our new start. The video is more of what we're going to be doing. And I would encourage listeners to keep up with that. And we'll just have more and more and more. And
I'm trying to make headway in the comedy industry, so you might be starting to see some more improv from us, some sketches.
Shows. Yeah, we want to start doing everything under the sun.
We're going to go viral, bitch.
Yeah, fuck y'all. We're going to do it. But I think also the cool part is if we do all these other projects and stuff and we try to go viral or whatever, the pod will always be the truest. That's why we're the Career Podcasters. This is our baby. This is the base. Everything else is to bring people to this, and this will always be real in like the true form.
Yeah, this is us, man. This is us. So, and we'll get better as we go on and become the true embodiment of career podcasters.
Exactly. So,
and with that, we bid you all farewell and a fucking peace.
Peace.